next session. Yeah. So today we'll talk about the some of the transformations and also about the lazy evaluation small topic. So which I wanted to show in the diagram. And apart from that, I will also show related to the delta lake, which is one of the important concept regarding Databricks and as well as the in general data engineering perspective. Okay. So we'll do that. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, unfortunately, this got terminated. I'm not sure in the community edition. I'm unable to restart the cluster once I did that. So each time I had to go through and create cluster again and again. Not sure what could be the reason. Okay, so for that, that's fine. So what I've done is I created I uploaded some of the files. I'll show you. See, whenever you created a file, you can upload the files, right? So whenever you upload the files, so those will be resided into the Databricks file system, right? So here you can go through this and this file store, whatever you upload, right? Usually, so those will be uploaded over here. Okay, if you remember the last session we uploaded about the yellow taxi trip data we uploaded. Okay, so in the night what I've done, so there are some big files, so I wanted to save the time, so I just uploaded some more files. So there is some 2015 summary. This is talks about airlines data, like country data, destination data and all. And I uploaded one more file known as loan status, which talks about the loan of the bank or one entity. And also uploaded one file called retail data. Okay, so in the retail data, what happens every day, the data will be there appended, right? In the retailing world, so every day the data will be appended every day, right? So I have some files, sequence of files of kind of a 2 months or 3 months file, so which I've uploaded. So these are the big files, so which I've uploaded to save the time. And so we'll try to see some of the concepts using these files, right? So let's see if we are going to do that. Okay, it's going on. So meanwhile, what we'll do is I'll show. Let me go through that. Okay, I'll talk about what is lazy evaluation. Okay, so if you remember the lazy evaluation I was talking about, all the there. So in the earlier session, I was talking about usually the Databricks or Spark, okay, runs on the lazy evaluation. In the sense, whenever you give a query, okay, outright it will not be executed. Okay, first what it will do, it will evaluate the query. Okay, it will evaluate the query, then action will be performed. Okay, so first the query will be analyzed and evaluated, then action will be performed. So that is the reason it's called lazy evaluation. Okay, so if you see that, let me show you one diagram. Yeah. Okay, so why laziness is so important? Why saying laziness is important? So not forced to load the data all the step one. That means, so when you perform some data operation, okay, say suppose select a max of data, a max of salary from employee, okay, is saying just I added this query. Okay, so it doesn't do that evaluation at the first interval itself. Okay, so what it will do, first it doesn't load the data. Okay, because say suppose it has like terabytes of the petabytes of the data, so it's not feasible to load all the data, right? And also if I want to load the data at the first interval, I cannot perform optimization properly, right? So that is the reason it does a lazy evaluation. And also there is something called catalyst optimizer. Okay, so if you see this catalyst optimizer, so what it will do, so suppose you're doing like series of operations on the data. Okay, so first what it will do, there won't be any logical plan. Okay, now with the help of this catalog, and it will analyze that query. Okay, and a logical plan will be implemented. Right now, once the logical plan is designed, that will be optimized. Okay, so once is optimized, then a physical plan will be designed. Then on top of it, now selected physical plan will be implemented on RDD. The what is it, the respective code will be generated for that physical plan, then that will be executed. Right, so initially that won't be executed. Initially the series of plan will be done. Okay, so once the series of plan will be done, then the actual what is it, the actual execution comes into picture. Okay, so this all will be done with the help of the catalyst optimizer. Okay, so catalyst optimizer, what it will do, it will take the query. Okay, an optimizer logical plan will be designed, then that will be converted into a physical plan, then which will be executed on the base RTT. Right, so that's what a catalyst optimizer do, and that's how the lazy evaluation concept comes into picture, that you need to understand. So this is so if you talk about data engineering, Azure data engineering, this will not be discussed anywhere. This is only the concept related to the Databricks. So as I was saying, Databricks is completely different tutorial which has so much of concepts, but I'm trying to give some of the content whatever is important for you guys.
What is RDD?
Resilient distribution data. So I spoke about, right? So it is a basic block of a Databricks. Sorry, in the Spark methodology, it's a basic block of the data. So whatever the data you're storing, or whatever the data, whatever the basic data you're storing, all the data will be what is it? All the data will be stored in the form of RTT.
Okay.
Right. So if you see here, what I was saying, there is something called actions and transformations. Right. So there is something called actions and transformations takes place. So what is the action? Action will generally write data to persistent storage using data frame writer discussed in the preceding group. So actually, what is action? Action is kind of a writes the code. Okay, say suppose a number of other actions provide the ability to return preview. Okay, so what happens? Action is nothing but whatever the action you're performing on the data. Say suppose your collect. So what happens? It collect. It just returns the rows. Okay, count. What happens? It just counts the values. First in the sense first row. Okay, for each loop. Head in the sense first row. Show in the sense top 20 it will show. Okay, so action is nothing but whatever you are performing the actual action on the data, that is the action. Okay, so what is the transformation? If you are performing any transformation on the data, right, so like a sorting and grouping, all this is called the transformation. Right, and so what I was saying, any output of data frame in the Databricks, again a data frame. Right, if you remember in the last session I was saying that whenever you perform any operation on any data frame, the output, if you are trying to capture, the output also will be a data frame. Right, do you remember that? So I used this word called immutable. So sorry, what happened? Yeah, I was talking about immutable. So what happens? Any transformation, sorry, any like whenever you're performing any action on the data frame, okay, the result set also will be a data frame. That is called immutable. Even it applies to RDDs as well. Okay, and in general, if you that is transformation. So in general, there are the two kind of transformations. Okay, so narrow transformation and wide transformation. So it's very simple. The data required to compute the records in a single partition resides at the most one partition of the RDD. Okay, so if you say filter, drop, coalesce, so these are all called narrow transformations. So in the sense, what happens? So the data will be resided in the RDDs. Okay, so whenever you're applying this transformation, only you can get the data out of only that block to the output. So in the sense, it will be the all the logic will be implemented within the one RDD. Okay, so whereas wider transformations, what happens, you need to combine the data. Say suppose I would say uh, get the data where country equal to India. So what happens, within this it will get the country India, within this it will the country India, within this it will get the country India. Okay, I don't need to club all these things, isn't it? So I can simply get apply the data, apply the transformation on each RDD and get the data out of it. I don't need to mix it up. But say suppose you are saying distinct or group by, right? In that sense, what I need to do, I need to combine all the data, right? All the RDDs, then only I can get I can apply distincts on top of it, right? Are you getting the difference? Are you getting the difference? The data will be resided on the single RDDs. Narrow will be applied only one single partition, right? Because a single out of a single partition, single RDD, I can get the result narrow. But whereas wide, say suppose distinct, group by sum. So what I need to do, I need to club all the things. Okay, then only the data will be the actual performance, the actual process will be done on top of the data, right? It's called shuffles in the sense the data will be shuffled and action is performed on the data. Okay, so that is the reason it's called wider transformation, right? So that is these are the simple topics you need to understand for the lazy evaluation. So catalyst optimizer, so you can explore more on top of it. Catalyst optimizer, right? Lazy evaluation and wider transformations, narrow transformations, right? So these are some of the things. These are not at all related to data engineering exam or something, but it's purely Databricks concepts. Okay, so which you can go through that.
So, like Rajiv, catalog, catalog analyst and DAG are same, I'm asking.
Sorry.
Catalog optimizer and DAG, no, directed acyclic graph.
So with catalog optimizer will perform a kind of a graph. Yeah, it will evaluate that graph, I can say.
Okay.
Yeah, then it will do the actual action. Okay. And there is one book. What is that? I wanted to suggest you that book. So I do have that book. I can give you that. 1 second. Let me. So that is a very good book and easy to understand. So that you can download and go through that. 1 second. What is that book I got? Yeah, the Spark Definitive Guide. Okay, Definitive Guide. So the Spark Definitive Guide is one of the very good books. Whoever want to start learning Databricks. Okay, it's very good book. So it gives all these kinds of information in very simple simple manner with great examples. Okay, so I do have that PDF with me, so I will share it with you. So you just try to spend some time. It's more interesting, and I've gone through that book almost 2 to 3 times overall. So it's very interesting book. So you can go through that and read more on that. All right, I'll try to send it to your email IDs. Okay, not sharing in the location. All right, so I will do that. It's very good book actually. So usually whoever try to go through this Databricks and all, so they will read this book. All right, and yeah, at the end of the class I will talk something more on that by stopping the recording. Okay, so we'll see that. And here let's see if it is done. Yeah, this is done. So let me remove this recording. Let me remove this as well. And if you're talking about me, I executed only 1 or 2 projects on the Databricks, not much, but I undergone some of the good trainings, and I gone through some of the very good books related to the ADB. So if you go through the definitive Spark guide at least 45 minutes or 1 hour for a day, so you can finish that book easily in 2 weeks. That's it. Very small content, but I'll tell you even the chapter names which you need to go through. Okay, so that is more than enough for you to understand. If you are through with that book and whatever the content I am going to share, so within 3-4 weeks you can master on the concepts related to the Databricks. All right. And I was saying, there is no project without the Databricks in the data engineering world now. So almost all the companies, all the projects uses Databricks in for that prepare and train what do you say, that phase. Okay, so that is the reason I am emphasizing. And also, as I'm repeatedly saying, in the data engineering course, nobody will handle or nobody will cover Databricks in such deep manner. So just they will give the introduction and leave it over there. But I'll try to give the content which I have with you. All the content I will try to give. I have good number of content with me. And here, if you remember that, so I was saying that there is some file called 2015 summary related to the travel agency, which I've uploaded just now. Like in the sense, in the night I uploaded. And if you remember that, how do you read the data? Spark dot read dot format dot option dot header dot separator dot file location, right? And even if you don't remember that, so what you do, you just to while uploading the file, what I was saying that, so you just create, whenever you're creating the file, so what I told, whenever you're doing that, you upload the file over here. Okay, you upload whatever the file over here. Say suppose I have one file, I won't upload now. So what you do, so once you upload the file, 16.8 MB, I'll remove that. So once you upload the file, there is a create table create table from the file. So once you do that, what happens? So like immediately a loading syntax will be populated over it. The same thing which I was talking about here. So this will be populated over here. But of course, this is a very simple one. So if you start doing at least 2 to 3 times the reading, reading a file, you should be comfortable enough of using this one. But very simple. So this is one. This is just a line limiter. So as I splitted this into multiple lines, I did that. But if you are doing that only single line, I don't know this. Okay, this is actual one. Okay, if you're performing any operation the data frame, or if you're reading anything with the data frame, usually we'll use dot 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 dot, dot all dots. Okay, so I'll show you that how does it work. So, and this is the file type, and this is the parameters, as I mentioned, parameters. So instead of parameters, I can simply directly also I can use here. Okay, so directly I can use here, I use SCP. Okay, this is a delimiter and a header. So directly instead of the parameter, I can use directly as instead of infer schema equal to false, I can remove infer schema, I can use false as well. Okay, that all I can do over here. Now here first row as header, so I'll make it true. Now I'm just trying to read the data and just ignore these files. Okay, ignore these properties. Okay, these are just variables. Instead of the variables, I can use the properties directly over here. Okay, you don't need to put it in the variables, but is a good programming practice because you can keep on changing sometimes based on the data. So you can do that. So what happens, I just read the data and display, which actually display the data over here. So so these are files I have, like destination country name, origin country name, and how many trips are there. So this is what it talks about. Okay, so here you can see here the actual data types and how many jobs has been used for reading this data. So this also I was explaining. You can see all the computation you can see over here. and see here 2015 summary. This already we have seen. See here, so instead of that properties, what I try to show is I did not use any property, any variables over here. I directly copied over here. So dot CSV, the location, header equal to true, infer schema equal to true. So what I'm trying to do, I'm directly using the actual values instead of the variables. So you start using with the actual values, so there won't be any much more options, so you'll feel more comfortable in doing these things. Okay.
Purushottam, can we read the file from Azure storage?
Yes, we can do that. We need to mount and do that. So I will show that maybe in the next class. Okay, there is a simple code. Excuse me. There is simple code where you will generate the SAS key and use that SAS key of the Azure Azure storage, and within this you'll replace all the SAS keys and all, then you can read that. That is called mounting the data. Okay, mounting the storage. So that in the sense you upload a file and you try to mount that on the top of ADB, then you start reading that. So actually, instead of actually copying the data into the ADB, you don't need to copy. Simply you'll read the data by mounting it. So that's called mounting. So we'll see that. Yeah, that is one of the very important basic thing that anybody should do in the Databricks, because almost every project will do by mounting only. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are all the take 3 and all I wanted to show. So these are all actually which I was practicing while learning. So I thought, why don't I use the same thing for you guys as well? So it will just talk about the first 3 rows and top 3, but is in the form of this regular format. Okay, and if you remember that I was also showing about the explain, so which actually talks about the detailed execution plan, if you remember that. So here I was trying to sort the count and all. So it says that count 125 exchange repartitioning, how the nodes are repartitioned while sorting the data. Okay, so it will talk about all the execution plan. So whenever you are performing some operation on the data frame, so you can get the physical plan and all plan with the help of the explain. Okay, so this is also one of the important point, and this already I used in the last session. So how do you create a view or table on top of a data frame? So here the data frame is what? My data frame is, okay, df is already I have data frame. Okay, so on top of the data frame I can get the data over here. So flight date 2015 is my data frame. Okay, so on top of a data frame I can create a table. Okay, so now a table has been created, a view, it's a view, it has been created on top of my data frame. Okay, so now I can start reading that data as simple as a table. Okay, now I say is a magic command, and with the magic command I can execute any command, SQL command like you do usually. So simply I'll say select star from this one. Okay, and this is case sensitive. Any almost all the syntaxes are syntaxes are in the case sensitive, so you should make sure that you are following that. Okay, so I can make it as a logical table on top of it and get the data out of it. Okay, now here see here what is the partitions. Okay, so usually what happens, all the data will be partitioned. Okay, as I was saying, it's a control node and compute node. If you remember that in the MPP architecture, so here also executor and control node, right? So usually the data will be partitioned and get the data, but you can control the partition and get the data out of it. Okay, as I was saying, you can control the partition. So how do you set the partition? This is one of the important what do you say, syntax or exam concept. So you can regenerate, or you can rearrange the partitions in the Databricks with the help of this command. So spark conf-set spark SQL shuffle partitions 5. So with the help of this, what happens, the partition, whatever the partition, the by default partition will be there, so that will be overwritten. Only the partitions which you are doing, that will be overwritten. Okay, so that you can do over here. So if you see this, you can see the actual partitions and all. Okay, so this is I wanted to show, because usually this will be asked to override the partition, so you can see that. Okay, and this, yes, same thing as I was saying. So you can go through different SQL commands on top of it and see that. So flight data 2015, I was saying.
You need to run the flight data view.
Sorry, no, that I did that, right? Flight data 2015, I already did that. Oh, summary, that is, sorry. Yeah. There's different table like you. I thought the same table name I did use. Okay, so I can display the count and group by. Same thing, like once you create a like view or the table on top of the data frame, then you can use all the SQL comments on top of it. So that is the beauty of that ADB, as I was saying. So you can write the data in the SQL, or you can write the data in the Python. So in some of the applications, like in most of the applications, so whenever the complex logic, SQL logic I wanted to implement on top of data frame, what I will do is, instead of writing the Python, and if you're very comfortable in the SQL, you just write the code in the SQL and get the performance done. Okay, and here what's happening, did I use SQL? No, right? Did I use SQL? No. If you see that the difference between this and this one is, so what I'm trying to is SQL, it's pure SQL command. Okay, but within the PySpark, using PySpark, you want to execute a SQL command, then I'm using this command called spark.sql. Okay, if I use spark.sql, then I can write all the SQL query, whatever I wanted to do. Then I can run the query using the display. Okay, so this is not SQL query, but it's a PySpark query, but I'm trying to execute the SQL query in the PySpark using this command spark.sql. Okay, are you with me?
Yes, Puchit.
Yeah, so the series of commands, so you may not able to like mug it up or remember everything, but what you need to do, you need to practice more and more examples. Like you take any random file, upload it, like you select it, group it, join it, like perform series of transformations, that then you'll get the confidence out of it. The same thing. So as I was saying, anything, any operation you can do with the usually we do with the group by. Okay, so say suppose, let me make it as simple so you'll understand this. Okay, now I want to group by, and like the same thing, see whatever the example I'm writing here, I want to perform it, I'm performing in the PySpark. Okay, so what you'll do, so any data frame, what you'll do usually, so you'll perform dot group by dot count. So all the series of operations what you're performing on the data frame will be done by dot, then the action dot, then the transformation. Like that you can apply like series of transformations with the dot and all. Okay, and as I was saying, the output of a data frame is always a data frame. So you're performing some operation and some transformation on the data frame, then you will get this transformation. Okay, and group by and count I'm doing. So this is basically a narrow transformation and wider transformation. This is a wider transformation because I need to group by across all the partitions and get the data out of it. Right? So this is one of the concept. Same thing. So I'm trying to do our Spark SQL, and here I'm trying to show the max count. Yeah. So what? How much count is there on top of the same most? Like almost 370,000. The 3 lakhs count is there and total count. So here I am doing all the count, sum of the count on top of country. So in the sense, like how many like trips has been done for every country. Same thing, you'll write the SQL command, then you can. So limit 5 is the one I'm planning to limit 5. Okay. So by default, if you don't perform, if you don't do anything, so it can give only 1,000 rows at a time. Okay, but if you can limit the data with the help of the limit command. And here same thing. So the whatever performing the action, so always I try to do with the help of SQL also. Okay, so it give sorry, PySpark as well. The same thing. So group by, then the sum. Now see here. So this is one of the important one which I wanted to show with column renamed. So with column renamed, what happens? You can add a column. So in this is a derived column. So whenever you're, it's same thing. Select sum count as destination total. So whenever you are adding a column to the data frame, so usually what happens, you do with column rename. Okay, and you are doing sort. See, series of operations. So what first I'm doing group by destination country, then I am summing it up, then sum of count, whatever the column you generated, so you are doing one name, then you are sorting on top of it, then you're saying limit 5. So whatever the actions that I'm performing here, series of actions, the same I'm trying to show with the help of the PySpark only. Right?
Like that slash is there, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Slash is only for next line. Otherwise, you can, if you're not comfortable with that, you can do that. This is readability.
Okay, sometimes like is there any syntax to be followed? Sometimes intent error is right?
Sorry.
We can write continuously with the dot, right?
Yes. You can write with the dot continuously. You can write with the dot. Yes. These are just readability. Actually, that's it. Nothing else. I was saying, right? So you can write with the dot. So you start writing with the dot only, so you'll get a good idea. So you can write some dot with recom. So you'll see all the series of transformation, the secrets. Usually you'll write with the dot only, but it is a like a readability, right? So with the readability, you can do that. And I wanted to show something as well. Yeah, so this one I think I already showed told this. So whenever you want to write the table back, okay, to the DBFS, you can write the data and you can create the data whatever the format you want to create. Okay, so here I wrote that. So whatever the temp view is there, only reader for the that particular notebook. Okay, but if you want to use the same table and say suppose you created on top of a table, okay, you can read only this one because the session will be ended only for this notebook, whatever the temp view you created with the create or replace one. But if you want to create a permanent table, you just create a permanent table and with the help of Parquet format you can create. So you can write a format and you can create the table out of it. So whatever the table will be created with this name so that you can across the notebooks you can access it because it's a permanent table. All right, are you with me?
Purushottam, so in real time, what we do, we just only read and display the data.
No. I will
how it
explain by stopping the recording. Okay, I'll explain that. So this sort, yeah, same thing I was saying, like sort, you can sort on top of the data. Say suppose order by loan amount, so then you can do order by loan amount, and this already explained, like resetting the partitions. Okay, the same thing whatever you are doing, so I can do over here. And see here these two, I try to wrote in a single one. Select EMP title count star as count for employee from DF group by EMP title. For each EMP title, let me run this and read this, so then you'll get better idea. Okay, I've read this loan stat. So usually it talks about the loans, like how much a loan, interest rate, installment, grade, and all talks about. Okay, now here I'll try to create a table out of it. Create or replace, it is done. Now what I'll do for every title, okay, for every title, how many, how much records are there? So for instructional coordinator, one record is there. For security employee, 54 count employees are there who has taken loan. So I was saying what I will do. First, I will say group by. So I'm trying to go kind of reverse group by. I'm performing a group by operation. Dot count dot with column rename. So I'm trying to first I'm getting this capturing this count, and here I am renaming this column like as this. This is the right this one. This one I'm trying to perform with the help of with column renamed. Okay, when I say with column, what happens? A new column will be added. Okay, with column renamed means you can get the data out of it with a as kind of thing. Okay, so whatever the simple comments you're trying to do, you do with the help of two things at a time. So that's what I did practice when I was learning. So you'll get better understanding and you'll be more comfortable in terms of syntax and all. So you take a file, you first write a SQL, then you start applying with the what do you say, PySpark immediately. So you'll get you'll remember the syntax and you know what exactly you need to do going forward. Okay, same thing like max is there, so you can select the max out of it and will explain the command on top of it. Let me show this as well. Yeah, this one I wanted to show. See, now you read only one file. If you see this, where did I read the file? The last file. Yeah, see here I did read only single file over here, file store tables. So under the table there is a file called loan stats 2018-14. Okay, only single file I read. Okay, but if all the files are in the same and only under the same folder, I can read all the files at one go. The syntax will be simple. Instead of table slash the table name, I can say star.csv. That's it. Okay, what happens, whatever the files are there in this folder, so what I am trying to do, I am trying to read all the files and all those are in the same format. Okay, simply I can read the data from all the files as a single table. So logically I can say it's a kind of a single data frame on top of all the tables. Are you getting what I'm trying to say here? So here I'll go here. So if you see here DBFS here, I have file stores, and the file stores I have a tables. Here I have retail. I have retail data by day. And if you see all the files are there. So these are all the files are spread across different files, and instead of instead of a file separately, I can read all the files whatever is available using this by data. Okay, so if you remember that the same thing we were doing when we were talking in the Synapse Analytics. So star dot means what happens? Say suppose order table has like 10 files, so I can read all the 10 files at one go. The same thing I am doing over here. That must be done. So let me see over there. Okay, so star.css means I'm reading all the data over there. Okay, now whenever you're using any functions on top of it, like SQL functions or things, you need to import all the functions whatever you want to perform. Usually like you do this right in the .NET and all, so you import, right? So here also I'm trying to import some of the Windows function and try to get some value, because here I am planning to show invoice data day one. So whatever the invoice data is there, the day one I wanted to capture over here, I'm doing that. See here I can group by 2 columns as well, group by customer ID and invoice date first day. So whoever are there in the first day, I am trying to group by it. Okay, so you can kind of perform all actions usually you do like in the SQL with the help of the PySpark data frame. So that is the reason data frame is like one of the very important topic in the Databricks. Okay, and say like in earlier the people used it to do Scala and RDDs, there was no data frame concept. Okay, but say suppose you're executing some code without data frame in the Scala and as well as the PySpark. Okay, so the processing speed or processing will be better only in the Scala, because underlying all the code will be Scala. But when you try to use the same logic with the help of the data frames, so there won't be almost negligible difference in the processing speed. Okay, the performance will be almost same if you compare between these two, the Scala or PySpark. Okay, so that is the reason people slowly started using PySpark only, and because the data frame is available now. And these are all the different expressions which I used while practicing myself. I can give it to you, you can start practicing that. One thing I wanted to yeah, that's it. And here same thing I was saying, like where you can use where column, select column, like where country equal to United Kingdom, like in the select command you use right? So same thing you can write, and you can use select command. Say suppose instead of select star, I can use select only the limited number of columns. Okay, so usually all the operations whatever you perform in the SQL, you can perform everything over there here. Okay, so these are the simple transformations which I wanted to show and try to compare with the SQL so that you will be comfortable to perform all the operations on the data and process it.
So share the CSV files
Yes.
you have used. No, it will be helpful for us.
Yes, I'll try to upload in a OneDrive and share it with you. Okay. Yeah.
Also the notebook also.
Okay, notebook I will try to modify it a bit and give it to you, because these are all the ones which usually I practiced. I wanted to show you the same thing. Delta Lake will try to do that. Okay, 1 second, give me a minute.